get right into the news. The big news on the House side is immigration today. The House voted down a wide-ranging bill that would have funded President Trump's border wall, offered young undocumented immigrants a path to citizenship, and partially addressed the family separation crisis at the border. It failed on a vote of 301 to 121, despite a last-minute tweet in all caps from the president.
In all caps.
And your support, or you supported the bill.
Yes.
I guess, why did 112 Republicans vote against this compromise measure that you and the president supported?
If you look at both bills, and Goodlatte 1 and Goodlatte 2 is how they were referenced, both bills addressed all the 4 pillars that President Trump laid out, from building the wall to closing interior loopholes, solving DACA, reuniting families. Both bills addressed those issues in different ways. So you had some members that wanted to address DACA, for example, one way, some members that wanted to address it a different way. At the end of the day, I think if you look at both votes, surely what I took away is we had a majority of Republicans vote for both bills. So in both cases, you had a majority of Republicans voting yes. But if you combine all of the votes, we had 224 Republicans vote yes on one of the 2 bills, and not one Democrat voted on either, which tells me our members wanted to solve this problem. And clearly we have different approaches on immigration within our conference, and there are a number of fault lines we worked through. But you didn't have one Democrat that was willing to work with us to address it. So it makes it a lot more complicated when you're trying to pass something that important when it's just one party approaching it. And so we at least worked through all of the issues our members were interested in and worked with the president. And there were 2 bills that he would sign. And what we told everybody was, look, if you want to fix the problems of our immigration system, Barack Obama never made an effort to push legislation through with Nancy Pelosi as Speaker to solve that problem. He created the DACA problem by saying, come to America illegally. Not, I'll fix the problem, but I'll look the other way. Bring your children and they'll just, none of them will be legal for the entire time that they're here, and I'll let somebody else fix it. President Trump said, I want to fix it. We had different approaches within our conference on how to, but at least we brought bills forward that, again, 224 Republicans voted yes on.
So let's talk about what's next. Will the House vote this week before the July 4th recess on a standalone bill that could address the separation issue and kind of codify some of the problems with the executive order and the Flores settlement, or is that going to end up not getting done?
No, we wanted to work through the bills that we had on the floor, and you've seen the courts make some different decisions, especially as it relates to child separation. Let's keep in mind, child separation was the policy and law prior to President Trump coming into office, and he said, as we've said, we don't agree with that policy. We want to change that. That's why in our bill, Goodlatte 2 today, had, I thought, a really good, sound solution to fixing that, to say families will stay together, will stay united.
So now that it's not passed, is there going to be a standalone effort, or is that?
I mean, right now we have looked for ways to find consensus on any of these issues, and clearly there hasn't been a consensus that got 218 on any one particular bill. But again, the courts have weighed in as well. The president did an executive order, and let's see how that plays out and continue working with the administration.
So don't expect a vote before we leave for
tomorrow.
recess.
There won't be a vote.
The big, I guess, the next big fight on immigration would be the government funding. September 30th, the president has said he wants money for a border wall. Democrats have said they're not going to vote for anything unless they get some protection for these DACA recipients.
Well, they had that opportunity today and voted no, but
so we're coming to this, fork in the road. I mean, it seems just as an observer, like the odds of a government shutdown would be pretty high. Do you see a government shutdown over this?
If you look at last year, the Democrats in the Senate, because ultimately getting 60 votes in the Senate's been the impediment over the last few years. Last year, Senate Democrats didn't provide votes on any of the 12 bills. I think something pretty important happened this week that didn't get a lot of coverage, and that is that the 3 appropriations bills we've already moved over to the Senate actually got taken up and passed. They had over 80 senators voting yes on the 3 bills. It was the Energy and Water Appropriations Bill, Ledge Branch, and Milk on VA. So those 3 bills all got passed back to us by the Senate, and that shows that they're willing to at least start moving appropriations bills. We're going to move the Department of Defense's appropriations bill tomorrow, and I think you're going to see a strong vote on that bill to pass that over to the Senate, and that's the bill that actually does fund our Department of Defense, a very important piece of legislation. I hope it gets bipartisan support out of the House, and let's keep these bills moving.
So you think a shutdown can be avoided?
Yeah, I mean,
and get money for the
we didn't want to shut down last year. We didn't get one. We ended up with an omnibus, which is not good policy. We want to see appropriations bills move. We want to see that process work. We're at least off to a good start. Now, there's a lot of time between now and September, but the fact that we're in June and we already have 3 bills that have passed both the House and Senate in different forms is a good sign.
Looking ahead to the next Congress, the president said last week, when it seemed clear that Goodlatte 2 wouldn't get the votes, let's deal with this next year. Do you actually, I mean, there's so many other things that you obviously want to tackle. Do you see another kind of sustained immigration debate in 2019, or are we sort of moving on?
Yeah, I've talked to the president about a few of the different things that we want to do to solve the immigration problems in this country, and I think we've shown a number of ways to address the complicated nuances of each of the pillars that the president's laid out. But if you look at where the fault line was, the Democrats in the Senate made it very clear they weren't going to bring any of the bills up. So what President Trump said is, look, there are elections coming up this November. Hopefully, I think we're going to get more Senate seats. And if we get a net increase in Senate seats and hold the House majority, which I'm confident we'll do, but a whole nother topic for discussion.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. There are a lot of things I'd like to see us accomplish, not just this year. There's still things we're working on this year, but next year, I think